Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and we're going to be talking about Venom, Sinner Takes All. This is 5 issues which introduces She-Venom, aka the Bride of Venom. So let's kick right into this. Venom, Sinner Takes All, again, it's 5 issues. The writer was Larry Hama. The penciler was Greg Luzniak. The inker, Scott Koblish. Colorist, Tom Smith. Letters by Ken Lopez, and Tom Brevoort was the editor on this. Tom Brevoort, go figure, would be an editor at Marvel for a very long time. He's currently an editor for Marvel. So this book did start off in August of 1995. So what we have here is a 5-issue series. This was this came out after Carnage Unleashed, which was a 4-parter. We will get to that story one day. For now, this actually happens right after all those incidents. We start off with Venom. He's sitting on a bus, just as Eddie Brock, and he's got really long hair, except he's blonde and he's huge. So some of the people, not this particular instance, but a later instance, someone would actually call him Fabio, which was actually interesting. Go ahead and look up Fabio. There will be no Fabio explained in a minute. That will never happen. However, you can look up She-Venom explained in a minute. So what we have is he's just sitting down. He's actually asleep on this wretched old subway, and just he's on this subway car going somewhere. He's just trying to get some sleep, And these 2 bums come up. Not even bums. These two delinquents. They come up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, man. Look at this guy. He's a wino. He's a toe jam factory. Let's have some fun." So they actually throw some lighter fluid on him and set him on fire. Now I think that we know by now that with Venom, he does not like Sonics. He does not like fire. So these knuckleheads. So, fortunately, Venom, Eddie Brock's the symbiote, the Clintar, they would eventually come to be called, smothers the fire really quick. Interesting. This is kind of like a Superman situation where it's like, you've got a weakness, but it's not really that big of a weakness. Don't worry about it. So, his main weakness is Sonics. So, and that's actually about 3 times as bad as the fire, but still. Shouldn't be able to put out your one enemy. So he actually turns into full Venom, and he goes straight after these bums. And he's like, "You sons of guns! Like, you're not even here to rob. You were just here to cause pain and suffering. You are the dregs of society." So he literally waxes poetic on these knuckleheads, kicks open the subway door, brings them down to the darkest depths of the subway, and all you hear are snap, crackle, pop, like a bowl of Rice Krispies. Just wow. It just eats these guys. I love it. A lot of people will be, sit there and talk about, oh yeah, he talks about eating brains, but he never actually does. That's not true. Here's a case where he does. All right, there's 2 brains, if they actually had 2 brain cells rubbed together, and he eats them. So anyway, we then see Anne Weying, and she is a lawyer in training, secretary-ish type backup dancer to this big time lawyer. The guy who made the the Carnage Unleashed video game, he's in a lot of trouble now. So his lawyer is going to the court to try and fight for him, and all of a sudden the Sin Eater shows up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, man, Spider-Man has got some of the best villains you could possibly imagine. So, Venom's bride, Venom's ex-wife, Anne Weying, is there. The lawyer gets killed, some other knucklehead gets killed, like another junior lawyer or whatever. And then Sin Eater actually right in front of it reloads, because he's got the double barrel shotgun. So he reloads and takes a shot at her. Somehow, even though it's point blank and she falls down a flight of stairs that's, about 4-6 feet high, she somehow survives, seemingly perfectly okay. Whatever. They're trying not to show blood and all that stuff, I guess. All the implied stuff. Anyway, she takes the shotgun blast to the face. But she still looks pretty, so it's fine. So she gets sent to the hospital. Now, while she's there, Eddie comes back to her place, says, listen, lady, I'm on my last leg. I'm sorry. You know I'd never hurt you. Where are you? I hear your TV's on. And he's about to turn it off. He's like, oh, she obviously keeps it on to try and, confuse burglars, make burglars think that somebody's home. Yeah, I know that trick. So just as he's about to turn it off, the newscaster is talking about the Sin Eater and the former Sin Eater and, is this the same Sin Eater? What's going on? And he's like, okay, I'm going to turn it off. And then it says, Ann Weying was shot. It's like, what? So he goes to the hospital to try and help her out. Darn good thing he does, because there's only SWAT on the roof and other, completely ineffective cops all over the building, including this way too Irish chief of police who's in there, who refers to himself in the third person at least once. And just, oh, God, this guy. The least effective police force ever is Marvel Comics police force, just in New York City. Absolutely horrific. So the Sin Eater shows up to finish the job. Whatever. Let that go. All right. Shot her in the face. I can see why he would assume that she's dead, right? So anyway, he goes after her, and he literally, he set up a bomb inside the hospital. There's a little Mickey Mouse looking face on it. Disney had not yet bought Marvel yet, so they didn't even go bankrupt yet. So I don't know. I don't think it was intentful, because the guys at Marvel, they'll usually do whatever they want to do, and if the editor doesn't catch it, gotcha. So I don't think that was actually intended against the actual House of Mouse. Anyway, so bomb blows up. There's no lights for a 10-city block. It's dark. This is one of the only problems I really have with this comic book is I guess you'd blame the inker, sorry. But it doesn't look dark. It's very hard to really get in the feeling, for me at least, because I feel like the comic should be drawn in a way that you can't see what's going on very well. But this is, back in the 90s, mid-90s, literally right dead smack in the mid-90s. August of 95 doesn't get more 90s than that, more mid-90s. So the colors are extremely bright. You know what I'm saying? So the idea of showing dark, no. There's the part where the police chief is shining a flashlight. The light on the flashlight looks darker than the room. I'm just saying, it's to me, it's horrible. I can't get into the feeling, that Venom is now climbing on the roof and, on the ceiling, and they look up and they show the flashlight, but the light, the area outside of the flashlight is just as bright. You know what I'm saying? Like, they show the guys on the floor, they've got one flashlight, but somehow it's very bright down there and you can see everybody. So it doesn't really show very well. You don't get to see Venom, just his eyes and his teeth, and things like that. So it's a shame. But literally, that aside, you're not going to find any more complaints from me about this comic, this series, this 5-issue limited series. So we see also Sin Eater has some night vision goggles, and he's going after Anne. So, the police chief's like, oh man, Sin Eater and Venom is here? What are we going to do? We got to take them both out. And she's yelling at him, no, if Eddie is here, and yeah, everybody knows who Venom is, says, no, if Eddie is here, he's here to protect me, not to hurt me. So, hi, pay attention. He doesn't. Sin Eater comes in and takes out all the cops in the room, minus the chief, shoots him, but he's the only one with a bulletproof vest on, apparently. And apparently his face is just armored. I don't know, maybe he takes a lot of Botox injections, I don't know. But he gets shot in the chest. It's buckshot. There's enough buckshot, and his face is perfectly okay. Whatever. So, and you could tell that it's buckshot later, because Venom actually catches a handload of buckshot. Anyway, so Venom shows up and he's trying to stop the Sin Eater, but the police chief is like, hey, no, and he goes to try and shoot. He actually does shoot up at Venom. It's cool, man, because you actually get to see Venom pop, pop, pop. He spits out the bullets that are, from he ejects them from out of his skin, out of the symbiote, which is awesome. I love when that happens. I love when they do that. So Anne at one point throws her bedpan. No, you don't see any splash effect, but she actually throws her bedpan at the cop. Perfect aim. She should have been in the minor leagues at the very least. And knocks the gun out of his hand. She doesn't face any kind of consequences for that because it's back in 1995 and it's the comics and, all that stuff when, hey, the cops actually seem to work for you. Today that happens. Oh, so she's yelling, "You idiot, I told you he's here to protect me." Well, it's enough of a distraction that Sin Eater is able to get his hands on a dead man switch. And he says, anybody moves, that's it. Everybody goes down. I'm going to take all of us out. Now, this is the end of the first issue. The second issue is basically just going to be the very quick wrap-up of this. This is the part where Eddie does actually catch the buckshot. All that crazy stuff, because he's like, I'll kill us all, but I'm going to kill her anyway. And he tries to shoot her, and Eddie's just like, come on, what are you going to do? You going to take that thing off? Eddie should have kind of had the symbiote go down and just wrap his hand around the guy's hand. Sin Eater's got his thumb on the dead man switch. If his thumb comes off of the switch, that's when there's going to be trouble. So he should have just gone and locked around the switch to make sure, the switch and his thumb to make sure that he can't move, and then just proceed to, eat his brains. He actually says at one point, "I'm going to eat your brains." So it doesn't quite work out. The officer gets shot again, the police chief. Like, that is some bulletproof vest, man. Anyway, Sin Eater escapes in the darkness. All right, he's got some repelling gear on him. He just sets it up really quick. I know from experience, repelling gear does not get set up quite that quick. Anyway, so and I was in the military around that same time. Yeah. So anyway, he gets out. The police chief is like, "All right, listen, Venom. I made a huge mistake. All right. Apparently, we were completely ineffective." "Yeah, you were. So you take her and go where you got to go, and we'll deal with the consequences later." So he does. The other police come in and act all tough. We're here to kick some butt." Shut up, man. If you'd have come in 10 seconds early, you've all gotten shot. This one dude just took out everybody. So anyway, Venom leaves and he decides to go into the sewers. He's got a little hidey hole. He's got a bed set up and everything. He forgets to lock the door. That comes back to haunt him in a little bit. That's where he gets called Fabio when these two knuckleheads come in. Anyway, he's going to try and take care of Anne there. And he wraps them both in the symbiote. And she's scared. She's freaked out. She's like, no, please, because I know what it does to you. "Oh, it's so warm." Yeah, that's right. That's what she said. Anyway, so he wraps her up in the symbiote because, one, cold, two, she's got to heal. And the symbiote heals. So it's not doing enough because they're sharing it. So he orders the symbiote with much reluctance on the part of the symbiote. "Cover her. You have to cover her and heal her." So it does. It finally obeys. Otherwise, he threatens to leave. He's like, "I'll walk away and never come back." You know what I'm saying? He says this to his other. He does this a couple of times. So it's cool. I dig that he's got to kind of train it. He's got to tame the symbiote. This is before it actually listened to him all the time. So she's completely covered by it now. It's like this big white gooey blanket that's supposed to be healing her. Now these two knuckleheads come in because Eddie forgot to lock the door, and he's doing a great job beating them up. He's got a lead pipe, whatever, some kind of little wrench device. But somehow these two knuckleheads overcome him. Now he can bench press 700 pounds, for crying out loud, and somehow these guys are able to overcome him. One of them's just really fat. One of them's, muscular, but he's a lot skinnier. So I don't see how this is possible, but okay. Like, he beats the heck out of these knuckleheads. Beats the heck out of them. He gets hit once. He's like, I don't think I can go on. Come on, man. Come on. So, whatever. Let it go. So he's about to get himself killed, and all of a sudden, end of this issue, She-Venom shows up, and she's like, "You're going to let him go, or I'm going to eat your brains." Now, the third issue is going to start up here, and she disposes of these guys. Now, when I say disposes of them, oh yeah, she actually eats them. Yeah. Eddie tries to stop her, but can't, And then finally, like she actually tosses him to the side, hits him, and he goes, flying. But at one point, he gets his senses, and again, he's like, you're not going to listen to me, but my other will, and my other will come back to me, or I will walk away forever, and it'll never see me again. So awesome. So it comes back, and she is awake now, and she realizes she got her senses about her again, not that bloodlust, and she realizes that she ate these people, and she's horrified. It's like, oh, your belly's full. I mean, pfft. So I'm playing. That's disgusting. So, she's looking like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. No, that thing made me do it. Eddie goes and says to her, like he's reluctant to say it, but he says it. It can't actually make you do anything that you don't want to do. And she's like, shut up. I hate you. I'll hate you forever. The thing is, as much as she always hated him, and this is great storytelling, all right? And I think that they portray it really well. They could have gone into it more, but, like they could have beat it to death. But I think they did it perfectly fine. They explain how now all of a sudden she gets it. Because you remember, she left him because he became Venom. And she's like, all these horrible things that you do, you're terrible. And he tried to explain, it's not just me, it compels you. And she's like, no, it's all you. You wanted to do this. Guess what? Now she finally gets it. Now she gets it. So she does become the She-Venom again a couple times. A bunch of crazy things happen. The comic book is great. The comic book is great. Now, I've only given you the first two, the gist of I gave you in good detail the first issue, a good gist of the second, and then the beginning of the third. There is still the rest of this issue and 2 more issues to find out who the Sin Eater is, the second incarnation of the Sin Eater. There will be several. and the mystery is actually really cool. I totally dig it. And when you find out who it is, it's like, oh, okay, interesting. It's good. It's actually a really good story. I dig it. And just the idea that Venom has to deal with, and She-Venom has to deal with a mortal. Well, he's a little bit enhanced, not too enhanced, but he's enhanced enough. But he's a guy with a shotgun, for crying out loud. You know what I'm saying? It's basically a weaker version of the Punisher, and Venom is having a hard time dealing with it. But it's cool. This is a really, really good story. Guys, I highly recommend going to visit your local comic book store and try and pick this up. Try and order it if you can, whatever. Let them, support your local comic book store. Worst case scenario, because it's happened to me several times, you can buy the physical or digital copy in a link in the description. That being said, that's it for me. For the Bride of Venom, mind you, they only call her Bride of Venom in the cover of issue 3. And the coming next month in the very end of issue 2. So she's never actually called the Bride of Venom, but yeah, you could totally understand why she would get that name. So yeah, long before the toxin and all those other Scream and all those other symbiotes showed up, we had another version, and it was really cool. I dug this. This was one heck of a comic. This gets an A from me. And this is, of course, being done because of the announcement that Anne Weying she was just they're doing a casting call for her for the Venom movie now. That just came out this week, so that's why I kind of moved up my timetable to do this comic. That being said, that's it for me. Guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, class dismissed.